For those of you entering your finding out era, this is your reminder that we're only 2 weeks in. You're going to want to buckle up because you've got 4+ more years of this.
Hey y'all, it's me all in Goodfun, but I'm not going to be very good fun today. This is my first video in a series called FAFO. You effed around, now you're going to find out. And I want to talk about what you're going to find out during the months and years ahead of the Trump presidency. First thing you're going to find out is the President of the United States does not control grocery prices. That's determined by distributors who bring food to market. And they get the food from farms. And those farms, well, they employ undocumented immigrants and migrant farm workers, and they pay them pretty low wages. But those hardworking people are glad to have that money to send home to provide for their families. Well, once those people all get rounded up and deported, well, these farms are going to have to hire white people and pay them at least a minimum wage. This is going to cost the farms a lot more money, so they're going to have to raise the price of products. What's even worse, a lot of these people, they've had farms in their family for decades. Some of these farms, they're going to go out of business because they won't be able to compete with the large farms that are subsidized by the United States government. So not only are you not getting lower prices, but you're putting your neighbors out of business. Oops.
This is an upcoming FAFO alert. FAFO. You're familiar, right? For those who think that Donald Trump's wonderful claim that he was going to cut taxes or cut Social Security taxes, if you think that was meant for you, wrong you are. Wrong you are. What he's talking about is cutting the money going into Social Security from which your payment comes. So if he cuts the amount that goes into the Social Security fund, guess what? Guess what? So now not only the current Republican stance is that the age is going to go up to 68 before you can apply for Social Security, one. And two, meanwhile, they will be draining what's in Social Security. So the amount you will get will go down, down, down. FAFO, Trump voters.
The irony of this is I just shared not too long ago a video of someone who had like a moment where they had a conversation with someone who voted for Trump and they had like their moment of awakening, right? Like, oh no, I might have made a mistake. Well, folks, I just had mine. So for some context, I work for an education company. So I work with people all over the United States. And after the election, my company posted on our like channel that we use to communicate with, they said, thank you for everybody who got out and exercised their right to vote, like yada, yada. And you could tell, it was very, very easy to tell who voted for who based on how you reacted to this post. And I have to say, I was a little shocked when I saw this specific person react happily to this post, because this person that I no longer work closely with because of just like reassignments, this specific person that I'm going to be referring to lives in Oklahoma. So it's been about 2 weeks since the election. And this person reached out to me this morning and they said, hey, I have a question. You used to sit in IEP meetings and you have experience with IEPs from your time in the classroom, right? And I said, yeah. I have experience in Ohio with IEPs. Like they do differ by state, but I can help, like what's up? So this person continues to tell me that they just got out of their son's IEP meeting. Now their son's supposed to receive services next year. He's going into 2nd grade. And they go, is it really something that they can do? Like they can deny my son's services? They're saying that they might not have services next year. If you've been following anything in the media lately, you are going to get there before I get there. And I said, well, legally, no. If your son has services in writing, an IEP is a legal document and it protects your son's rights. So no, it's not legal. However, if they don't provide the services and we get rid of said department that pushes those services, you no longer have the obligation, or the school no longer has the obligation to provide those services because they no longer have the department that provides them. And they continue to say, well, I don't understand how they can do that. Like he's supposed to receive services. They're saying they might not even have a department next year. And then they're also saying that they spent a ton of money on new literature for next year. That caught my attention. So I said, well, what literature? I know what literature, but I want to know what they have to say. And then they say, well, some sort of literature for like Western civilization courses. And you mean the Bibles that Oklahoma just sent to all of their schools, that schools are going to receive money for if they actually implement them? That literature? I just sat there like jaw on the floor. I could not believe that I was actually experiencing this in real life. Like, I've seen plenty of like, people are calling it like the F around and find out moments that people are having now that they are actually seeing what's going to be happening now that Trump has been voted in. And I didn't think I'd actually experienced one firsthand. Like, I have to say, it's a bittersweet feeling, because to see the ignorance of somebody like suffer the consequences of their said actions, that student is still going to suffer because the services that they need are not going to be available to them next year. Because why were people so like floored that when Trump said he was going to defund the Department of Education, which, by the way, this woman is probably going to run. If you don't recognize her, turn on the wrestling channel. Apparently she's associated with that. I just want to be alive for the day that we actually put somebody in this position that knows what the F they're doing. This is how teachers feel when we assign an open book test and you still get students that fail. People had months, years even, with this man to study for the test. The test is voting day. How are you going to have years of time to have an open book test and still fail the test? How? How are people floored that Obamacare is the same thing as the Affordable Care Act? Why are people astonished that grocery prices are actually going to go up, and they already are starting to, before if they even go down? How are people like mind blown when they're reading articles about deportation happening to people that they actually love and care about in their lives? The privilege to not care and not do proper research and not figure out what the heck is going on in your own country is really about to bite some people. And unfortunately, like in my example, it's not just going to be the voters that pay for it. It's going to be our kids. It's going to be our students. It's going to be the people that we don't even realize are going to be impacted by this. And I'm just like, those Bibles though.
Some Republicans just found out today what Elon Musk had said before the election about us all facing temporary hardship. They then looked to the stock market to see what was going on there, and the experts are saying, and their only question is, what about my retirement? What about your retirement?